What if the person you'd least expect was the only one who could save you? Most people think they know the story of the Good Samaritan, but what if you've misunderstood it your whole life? Stay until the end, because what happens next might completely change how you see people, compassion, and even God. It all begins on a dangerous road, the steep, rocky path from Jerusalem to Jericho, a stretch of nearly 27 kilometers twisting through barren desert hills. In ancient times, this was known as the Way of Blood, a place where robbers waited behind boulders, where travelers feared every shadow. A man walks alone, clutching his belongings. The sun burns his back. Suddenly, from behind the rocks, men leap out. He barely has time to shout before fists crash down. They tear his clothes, take everything, and leave him half dead in the dust. His breathing slows. His vision fades. The only sound left is the wind sweeping across the road. Then, footsteps. Someone is coming. The man forces his eyes open. He sees the flowing robes of a priest, a man of God. Surely this holy man will stop. The priest glances at him, hesitates for just a moment, then crosses to the other side of the road. Maybe he's thinking about ritual purity. Maybe he fears an ambush. Maybe he just doesn't want to get involved. Whatever the reason, compassion dies in the silence of his footsteps fading away. Time passes. Another set of steps echoes. A Levite approaches, a man who serves in the temple. He slows down, looks at the broken body lying on the ground, and, like the priest, crosses to the other side. Two men of religion, two missed chances for mercy. The wounded man barely has strength left. Dust clings to his lips. His hope drains away. But then, another traveler appears, a man leading a donkey. His clothes and accent mark him as a Samaritan. To the Jewish audience hearing Jesus tell this story, that word would sting. Jews and Samaritans despised each other. Centuries of religious tension, racial division, and mutual contempt. A Samaritan was considered unclean, heretical, the enemy. So when Jesus said, "A Samaritan came by," his listeners must have tensed, expecting the worst. But this Samaritan, this so-called enemy, does something unthinkable. He rushes toward the wounded man. He kneels beside him, ignoring the blood, the smell, the risk. He pours wine on the wounds to clean them and oil to soothe them. He tears strips from his own robe to make bandages. Then, with effort, he lifts the half-dead stranger onto his donkey and begins the long walk through the desert heat. The road is steep, and the Samaritan walks beside the donkey, his sandals cutting into his feet, sweat dripping from his brow. He finally reaches an inn as night falls. Inside, he lays the man on a bed and tells the innkeeper to take care of him. He gives him 2 silver coins, enough for several days, and says, "If you spend more, I'll repay you when I return." Then he walks away into the darkness, leaving behind a silent lesson that echoes through eternity. When Jesus finished the story, he looked directly at the scholar of the law who had asked him, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus asked, "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell among robbers?" The man couldn't even bring himself to say the word Samaritan. He simply answered, "The one who had mercy on him." And Jesus said, "Go and do likewise." This story was revolutionary. In a culture divided by race, religion, and hierarchy, Jesus shattered the boundaries. Being a neighbor, he taught, wasn't about shared beliefs, background, or nation. It was about mercy, compassion without prejudice, love that crosses lines. If Jesus told this story today, the Samaritan might be someone from a group you distrust, someone you argue with online, someone you judge or fear. And yet, that person, the one you think is wrong, might show the heart of God more clearly than those who claim to serve him. The story of the Good Samaritan isn't just a moral about helping strangers. It's a mirror. It forces us to see ourselves. How often do we justify walking past pain because we're busy, uncomfortable, or afraid? How often do we think compassion belongs only to those who deserve it? Even the small details in the story hold meaning. The oil represents the healing of the Holy Spirit. The wine symbolizes the blood of Christ that cleanses wounds. The inn reflects the church, a place where broken people find recovery and rest. And the Samaritan himself. He foreshadows Jesus, the one who finds us beaten on the side of the road of life, left for dead by sin and shame, and chooses to lift us up when others walk away. Like the Samaritan, Jesus came for those society ignored. He carried our burdens, paid our debt, and promised to return. "If you spend more," said the Samaritan, "I'll repay you when I come back." The echo is unmistakable. I will come again. But this story is not ancient history. It's happening every day. The world is full of people bleeding, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Refugees searching for safety, homeless souls passed by on city sidewalks, teenagers drowning in silence and anxiety, neighbors hungry for compassion. And yet so often we look away. We scroll past suffering on our screens. We hear the cries of others but turn down the volume. We justify our indifference. And still, the parable whispers across time. Don't just feel pity, do something. Compassion is not convenience, it's sacrifice. It costs time, comfort, pride, and sometimes reputation. But every act of mercy writes God's story on the world again, one heart at a time. Imagine for a moment that you were the one lying on that road. Would you want someone to stop for you? Then be that someone, even for those who might never stop for you. Jesus didn't tell this story so that people would admire it. He told it so that people would live it. The real question isn't, who is my neighbor? It's, am I being a neighbor? Every decision in this story is a reflection of character. The priest and Levite asked, "If I stop, what will happen to me?" The Samaritan asked, "If I don't stop, what will happen to him?" That's the difference between religion and compassion, between knowing God and showing Him. Sometimes the people who talk the most about faith act the least like it. And sometimes, those we dismiss as outsiders reveal the heart of God more clearly than we do. Look around your world. The wounded are everywhere. Not always bleeding, but broken in other ways. A coworker quietly depressed, a student bullied online, a stranger overwhelmed by bills, by fear, by loneliness. They may never say a word, but their souls cry out for someone to notice. You don't need a title, a degree, or a pulpit to be a good Samaritan. You only need eyes that see, a heart that feels, and hands willing to help. Compassion doesn't require permission. It only requires action. So, who will you be in this story? The one who crosses the road to avoid discomfort, or the one who crosses boundaries to bring healing? The Good Samaritan is not just a story Jesus told 2,000 years ago. It's a challenge that still speaks to every generation. It's a call to love beyond prejudice, beyond fear, beyond convenience. It's God's invitation to be part of His rescue mission for humanity, because love without limits still changes the world. If this story touched you, don't let it stop here. Comment below and tell me, what does being a neighbor mean to you today? Click like, share this video with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to discover more extraordinary stories from the Bible that reveal timeless truths for modern hearts. And before you go, click the link on your screen to watch the next story. It might just open your eyes even wider.